Hey, welcome to another episode of Marketing Matters with Christie Welch. Today we're going to be talking about the Ohio State University Extension Program, the Direct Food and Agricultural Marketing Programs. So stay tuned. Christie, it's always a pleasure coming on your show and talking about different things. You know, it's really interesting with the Ohio State University Extension Program. They are a vast series of different programs, and I know that you're over the food and agricultural marketing programs, and it probably would be helpful to let the listeners know all the different things that you're involved with.
That'd be great, Patrick, and I'm happy to be here today to share that information. As you may know, Extension is a program within the Ohio State University College of Food, Agricultural, and Environmental Sciences, and most people are familiar with Extension through the 4-H program that's in almost every county in Ohio, where it's really helping youth leadership development and learning skills and those kinds of things. But Extension is much bigger than just the 4-H program.
That is true. You know, there seems to be different key program areas that agriculture, natural resources, the educators are very actively involved with.
They are very involved, and so Extension has 4 main program areas, and of course 4-H program being one of those and one of the most widely known throughout the state. But they also have a community development program, and community development educators really focus on business, organizations, and associations and committees within a community, and so they're really interested in helping co-create solutions within communities throughout the state to help improve those communities.
Now you had mentioned that in each of the counties there is a OSU Extension office.
Yes.
And so I'm assuming each office has a person that is directly dealing with community development.
Well, it really depends, Patrick. While community development is a program statewide through Extension, counties are very involved in selecting what programs they focus in their communities. And so some counties have educators in all 4 of the programs, Extension programs, and some do not. So it really depends on the individual county and what they feel their needs are. And if there's not a specific program area in your county, that doesn't mean you don't have resources. We can certainly reach out to others within Extension to find the resources that a community or county might need.
Oh, I see. And so what individuals don't know is, or some individuals don't know, is that they align with the county commissioners.
Absolutely.
And they sort of together determine what is best for the population of that area.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly. So it's really a partnership between the counties and the College of Food, Agricultural, and Environmental Sciences within OSU Extension. And so, you know, within the college, there's a lot of research that happens. And so Extension is really the arm of the university that then takes that resource out to the communities, to the individuals that can benefit from that research that's being done at the college level.
You know, here at our OSU Piketon studios, we've had the fortune in having a variety of different programs, such as Marketing Matters, but we've also had them with healthy living resources, with food, community development, things of that nature. And so it's really, you can see a vast variety of different programs, you know, through some of the shows that we are telecasting.
Absolutely, Patrick, and I think that's one of the really nice things about your broadcast is you really touch on all 4 of the main program areas within Extension, but then we can really get people that are more aligned with some of these areas and really dig deeper into some of these topics.
I know that you have a really healthy background in food.
I love to eat food.
Well, I was thinking of the farmer markets,
Yes.
the small business development programs where you've helped a number of different smaller farmers. You've been actively involved in the Tobacco Foundation. You've been actively involved in larger food sources. And so, some of the areas you like to touch upon, or that you're responsible for, or that you're directly involved with, what are some of those programs?
And so with our direct food and agricultural marketing program, we fall into kind of the fourth main area within Extension, and that's agricultural and natural resources, because we really focus on food and food producers, which falls into agriculture. So our team is really, our mission is to help Ohio's food producers be better at what they do. Now, we are not the production folks. There are lots of field specialists in horticulture, crop science, weed science, plant pathology that farmers can go to for those production-related issues. What we really focus on are more the business side of small farms, and we really focus on marketing, because again, if you're the best kept secret around, you're not helping anybody. So we're really trying to provide education and assistance and training on helping our small food producers become better marketers, so that hopefully that'll translate into being more financially successful, which will translate into long-term sustainability for our farms.
So let's just suppose I have a small farm, 2 acres, in which I grow different products that I want to sell. Am I a typical individual that would come to you for service?
Yeah, and so let me just say, Patrick, that within our team, we are a team of individuals that are based throughout the state. We have extension educators that are county-based. We have partner organizations that are also involved in the food industry in Ohio. One example is OFA, the Ohio Ecological Food and Farm Association. So a couple of their members or employees are on our team, as well as other organizations. And so we really try to offer the area of expertise throughout our team that best aligns with that individual farmer's needs.
I see. So suppose I want this, I've been growing pumpkins. And the only way that I really sold those pumpkins was through a couple of farmer markets, etc. Would that be the extent, or could you help me to better market those pumpkins on a wider variety?
We could certainly help you look at the various options, and so that really is our Market Ready program that we offer. Now, Market Ready is a program that was actually developed by Dr. Tim Woods out of the University of Kentucky, and then Julie Fox, who was my predecessor, piloted that program here in Ohio about a decade ago, and currently that program is taught in 17 states throughout the country. But that Market Ready program really helps producers evaluate different market channels or different places, whether it's a farmer's market or a wholesale market or a retail market, and help them understand how those channels differ and what the different business functions are associated with those different market channels. So we can help them walk through, evaluate those different marketing channels. The ultimate decision, of course, is going to be up to that producer.
So again, let's suppose I have a pumpkin farm. I can't come to you and say, here's my pumpkins, go ahead and sell.
Well, we typically don't sell for them. We can say, okay, here are some outlets that you might want to look into. And so we can direct them to some other potential outlets. But again, the final decision is up to that individual farmer or producer.
Okay, all right. And that's sort of the work of the extension program, is to help individuals better be informed.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, let's suppose that I'm going to a farmer's market, and I'm used to only getting cash. The technology today has really changed.
Absolutely.
And are there some devices, or are there some things that your team can assist with?
Absolutely, and that's a great point. You know, younger individuals very seldom carry cash, and with technology, of course, there are many options now to allow producers to get paid directly from the consumer. Many of those are via a smartphone, and we've worked a lot with farmers market vendors over the last number of years to help them kind of navigate some of those opportunities and find one that might work best for them. The other thing that we've done a good deal of work with is farmers markets wanting to accept SNAP benefits. SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or what was formerly known as the Federal Food Stamp Program.
Okay. All right.
And so we've assisted markets with that as well.
So if I'm receiving food stamps, I can go or someone can come to me and buy a pumpkin and use their food stamps.
Yes, they can if the market is set up or the individual vendor is set up to accept those, because those benefits are now electronically transferred. So it's not typically a paper voucher. It's an EBT card, or electronic benefits transfer card. And so they need to have the equipment necessary to make those transactions.
Okay, all right. So that's part of the Device Ready program? Is that what you're...
That can be part of the Device Ready program, but really when we talk about Device Ready, Patrick, what we're talking about, again, if you're the best kept secret around, with as much as consumers use their devices, smartphones, tablets, computers, to find information, if you don't have an effective online presence, you're not going to be found. And so Device Ready is our program that really helps producers look at their social media presence, their web presence, and help give them tools and training to make sure that they have an effective online presence so they can be found.
It is interesting. There's a number of people that believe all I have to do is get a web page and thousands of people will be there.
Yeah, it doesn't usually work that easy. You know, there's billions of searches on the web every day, and so to stand out when people are looking through billions of searches can be a challenge. And so, again, our Device Ready training really walks producers through things that they can do to help really increase their online visibility.
Oh, that's interesting. So in that Device Ready, it's best to contact you to see what might how you can help us.
Absolutely, and so that Device Ready is actually, we do that in a one-day training, and we schedule those throughout the state from various times, and so it is best to contact us and find out when those are coming up.
You know, I was also thinking, Christie, suppose I did a little maze in my pumpkin patch. I bet you there will be a lot of people during the Halloween, you know, to come to my site, and you know, I can make some extra money.
Absolutely. And so what you're talking about, Patrick, is agritourism. And here just a couple of years ago, the state of Ohio passed an agritourism bill that helps provide some liability protection to farmers and producers that invite the general public onto their farm to learn about agriculture, to enjoy the farm, and it's also honestly been a good source of revenue for a lot of small farms especially. And so we have our Agritourism Ready program that really helps producers and small farms understand some of the benefits and risks of inviting the general public onto your farm, some best practices as far as adding new activities, and one of the ways that we do that is we have an annual Agritourism Ready conference. And that conference for 2020 is coming up March the 21st of this year. And so we will very soon have more information about that on our website.
Good.
We also have a couple of team members that did an emergency preparedness plan for agritourism operations especially. And it's a web-based resource that you can click through and answer a few questions. And once you get all that information in, you can print out a flip chart then that has all the necessary information that you can post on your farm market, so in the event it's ever needed, then you have it handy.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. You know, you brought up the fact that liability concerns, and you know, that's one of those things that we sort of miss. You know, people come onto our property, they'll never get injured or anything of that nature, and So I'm glad to hear that the state of Ohio is doing some things to help the smaller farmers with agritourism.
Yeah, we were really pleased to have that put into place here in Ohio. Now, that doesn't mean you can just throw caution to the wind, and you still have to do your due diligence, and you have to do some things to comply with that regulation, but it does provide, again, some liability protection for those farmers that would like to invite the general public onto their farm.
You know, the other area, sometimes individuals, let's suppose we have a lot of people coming on where can they use the bathroom facilities?
Absolutely.
And another one is, can you sell drinks or pop or things of that nature? And so there's a lot of questions people need to ask.
There are a lot of questions about that, and we have resources, of course, through our direct food and agricultural marketing team. I would say also that Peggy Hall, who is an associate professor within the college and an ag-focused attorney, her website is farmoffice.osu.edu, has a wealth of resources on their website as well, especially if you just Google or search for agritourism on that website, you'll find all kinds of resources.
That's a neat program. You know, in talking about small farms, do you primarily have you seen small farms, medium-sized farms, large farms? Does Extension sort of cater to one or two of the different farms?
I wouldn't say that we do, Patrick. I think that we work with a lot of different farms of all different sizes, and of course, depending on the size of that operation, their needs can vary quite a bit. I will say that over the last 5 years, we've really been trying to focus on those mid-sized farms because those are the ones that we're losing the fastest here in Ohio, and we really want to help those folks continue to be sustainable over the long term. But we don't turn anybody away based on size.
Okay, all right. And I would imagine that the medium-sized farms or the small farms, sometimes they are in need of those markets that people will buy. You know, it's I think you have a program where individuals can meet with buyers that they
yes,
are
we
not aware of.
absolutely do, and so that's a great opportunity as well. So I think you're referring to our Meet the Buyers program, Patrick, that really is kind of an offshoot of that Market Ready program.
Oh, okay.
So when we talk about different marketing channels, again, that can be direct to consumer, that could be to a restaurant, a grocery store, a large wholesaler, all different types that you might want to look at to sell your products. Really, the goal of the Meet the Buyer program is we invite producers that have products to sell into the same room with potential buyers. And so we have small specialty stores, we have independent grocery stores, we have large chain grocery stores that come in and really just help make those connections between that producer and that potential buyer, and then they kind of take it from there and see if they can mutually benefit each other.
That's interesting, because one of the things that I was thinking of when I'm growing all these pumpkins is the local Kroger store or the local food store would immediately buy all my product.
Well, it doesn't necessarily work just that easily, Patrick. Again, what we try to do is help to educate our producers on what those buyers are looking for and what those expectations can be from both the buyer's perspective and the seller's perspective. So we just give them the tools to better navigate some of those market channels. And, you know, if you're going to sell your pumpkins to a large retail grocery store or any kind of a larger chain retailer, you're not going to get the same price that you get when you're selling an individual pumpkin directly to the consumer.
That's true.
So again, to help producers think through those different channels and see which ones will best meet their needs is really what we focus on with our Market Ready program, as well as with that Meet the Buyers program. We are hoping to help them make the connections and then the potential buyer and the producer work out all the details on how those might work.
Do you have a number of different Meet the Buyer programs? Is it usually in the spring, the fall, the winter?
So we have tried to do that at least 3 times a year. We've had a little lag in that here. We've partnered really closely with the Ohio Department of Agriculture's Ohio Proud program to offer those Meet the Buyer opportunities.
The Ohio Proud. Perhaps you can share a little bit more about what the Ohio Proud is?
Sure. So the Ohio Proud program is really a marketing program that is run through the Ohio Department of Agriculture. And if you'd like to learn more, just go to ohioproud.org. You can sign up to become an Ohio Proud partner, and then that enables you to use their Ohio Proud logo, which can communicate immediately to your buyers that this is a product that was grown or produced in Ohio. And so it can be a really good marketing tool to help with that.
I see. Oh, you know, my pumpkins are so unique that I'm really thinking about naming the pumpkins after my wife, the Wanda pumpkins. You know, and that sort of everyone will then know. You know, you can buy a normal pumpkin or you can buy a Wanda pumpkin. You know, so any strategies that you have that can help me to sort of channel the direction I want to go?
We sure can, Patrick. And so one of the things that we can also do as a team is help you think through your brand and your image strategies. And one of the things, it's interesting that you mentioned naming your pumpkin. One of the things we talk about a lot in our marketing training is, I'm sure lots of folks have heard of cuties and halos.
Cuties. Yeah.
And what are those? The little mandarin oranges.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But that's a perfect example of branding that product based on their target market.
I see.
And so we can use those kinds of examples to help producers.
Okay. And then I know you've had a lot of background with farmer markets. Are they still prevalent today as they were 10 years, 15 years ago?
We still have a very healthy farmers market industry here in Ohio as well as across the country. I will say that shopping patterns by consumers are changing a little bit. And so one of the things that we continually work on with our farmers markets is to make sure that they are meeting the needs of their target customers and making sure that they put strategies in place to continue to develop those relationships with their customers. And so that's something that we continually work on with our farmers markets to help them be relevant in the next decade or so. Again, as consumer shopping patterns are changing, we need to help our markets be prepared to meet those upcoming changes.
And I'm assuming that farmer markets are in every county.
I don't believe that they're quite in every county in Ohio, but we have about 250 farmers markets throughout the state, as best we can tell. That's a little bit number that's hard to sometimes get a handle on, but we continually work on figuring out where those markets are and then helping them be better communicators with their customers.
So why should people consider going to farmer markets and not to the grocery store?
Well, and that's a great question, and lots of discussion has happened, Patrick, because more and more grocery stores now carry locally produced foods. But when we ask consumers, they really want to know who produced that food, how it was produced, and where it was produced. So when you're buying direct from the farmer, you have the opportunity to ask those questions and develop that relationship with your producer, where, yes, you can go in grocery stores and buy locally produced food, but you mainly find that out through signage or ancillary materials, and you don't have the opportunity to have that direct interaction with your producers.
I see. And at the farmer markets, are they all real small farms that participate in it?
Not necessarily. We have a variety of different sizes and types of vendors that sell at farmers markets all across the state. I mean, we have some producers that are very small and might sell at one farmers market a week, where we have mid-sized farms that sell at multiple farmers markets in a week, 7 or 8, depending on their location and their offerings. And so, you know, if you've been to one farmers market here in Ohio, you've been to one farmers market. They're all pretty different, and we encourage you to get out and visit as many of them as you can.
Now, is it just primarily on farmer markets, fruits and vegetables?
No, and so we have all different kinds of products that are sold at farmers markets here throughout Ohio, and the markets themselves are the ones that determine what types of products they allow their vendors to sell. Of course, many of them have fresh produce, fruits and vegetables, but we also have a lot of value-added products, so locally roasted coffee, honey, maple syrup, baked goods. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Cheese, milks, meats.
Wow.
The list just really goes on and on of what is sold.
Wow, that is fantastic. You know, it sounds like the Ohio State University Extension Program, the Food and Agricultural Marketing Program, is really a viable program that assists small, medium, and large farms.
Yep, that's really what our goal is to do, Patrick. I mean, when you boil it right down, we want our farmers and food producers to be successful. We want them to be sustainable over the long term, not only from an environmental perspective, but from a financial perspective too. You know, if you're doing everything right to sustain the environment, but you're losing money, chances are that you're not going to be around for a long time.
Yeah,
so we really try to take what it is that producer is looking for, look at the dozen or so individuals that are members of our team, and then match those needs and specialties up so that that's the most successful relationship.
Well, one final question, and you've been around to a lot of different farms and a lot of different places that cater to farms, etc. Are farms in Ohio primarily corn, soybean, or is there a variety of different products that we cater to?
You know, I think that most people think of the corn and soybeans because that's what we see driving up and down the interstates. And of course it varies a little bit depending on where you are in the state, but there is so many diverse things produced in this state, from fruits and vegetables to, oh my goodness, specialty crops, as ornamentals, pumpkins, flowers. The list just really goes on and on. So I just challenge you to do a little bit more investigation and visit farmers markets and ask them where they're producing it. Visit farms and find out what they're doing. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised.
And the other thing that we want to always stress is at the Ohio State University South Centers, we have ongoing research on various different products, and I know that you're involved with some of the researchers, for instance, the grapes for the wineries, and the different hops
and hemp, which was just approved to be produced here in Ohio. And so again, we're not the production experts, but we can help you think through maybe some of the marketing that goes along with some of those specialty products.
Christie, I've learned a lot, and I thank you very much for having a monthly show, Marketing Matters, and I know that you have some really exciting guests that come on and talk about the different things that they have.
Well, thank you, Patrick. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you for watching.